Good afternoon. My name is Ruth. This is Fae Hollow Homestead, and I'm out in my garden today, basically just kind of like piddling. I really love to piddle in my garden. It sounds really weird. You know what I mean. Oh my goodness. So I'm out here and oh, look at this gorgeous, beautiful butterfly. He's just hanging out in my garden. So one of the things that I really like to do is I like to have sunflowers in my garden, but I don't like to put them everywhere in my garden because the seeds in sunflowers, when they fall to the ground, what they do is they have a chemical inside of them that is kind of a growth inhibitor for everything except for sunflowers. And so I don't want to have sunflower seeds just going everywhere in my garden and dropping into the soil because, I mean, there's really no stopping sunflower seeds from spreading, you know? So what I'll do is I'll have sunflowers and I'll put them in strategic locations, like at the corners of my gardens, so they're not just kind of like going out into the whole bed or something like that. And then I like to put them up against poles or tall things in the garden. Let me show you right here. So like I have this sunflower and you can see it's at the corner of my bed and I have it up against this tall arbor, which I can then use my twine and I can kind of tie up the sunflower. The same thing over here. I actually need to go in there and I need to tie up this sunflower that's on this pole right here. I haven't done that yet, but that's what I'm doing today. But if you can see, I have this tied right here to the trellis, and that kind of just, I mean, it's pretty sturdy right now. As it gets a little bit taller, I am going to tie it up again. I have a couple over back here that I've tied up a few times already. But sunflowers can get very top heavy, and it's difficult to keep them from falling over if you don't have them secured. And so that's why I like to put them up against stuff like that. But there is a real big benefit to having sunflowers, even though they drop these seeds in your garden. So if you can find a spot, like a corner like that, where the seeds aren't going to be too much of a problem, and most likely they'll just fall on the path or an unused part of your garden, it's really good because there are certain predatory insects that live in the husks of old sunflower plants throughout the winter, and then in the spring they come out and they eat your pests. And so what I will do is I will leave the plants throughout the winter. I don't like to clean up my garden at all in the winter. I just think that there's too many overwintering things using these plants as habitat. I mean, there's so many that we don't even know about. We do know about the sunflower ones though. So I will leave them until new flowers in the spring start blooming, so I know that they have a habitat to live in once they hatch out and they're good to go. So sunflowers are really important to me. They're also really good pollinators and they're just so beautiful. I mean, really, like sunflowers, they're so cheerful. Like, I just love looking at sunflowers in a garden. So that's what I got going on over here. I am battling voles like you would not believe. I am ordering a big couple gallons worth of castor oil from Etsy or Amazon or somewhere online that I can find. And it's going to be garden grade castor oil, not food grade, because that removes whatever that smell is that voles really don't like. And I'm basically just going to like drench my garden in castor oil. It's like neem oil. Like, you don't want to use this if you don't have to, but the voles are completely destroying my garden. And I have tried everything that I could think of. And then I've tried a bunch of stuff from viewers from the YouTube channel that I have that have left comments and ideas. And I'm still finding damage, new damage, repetitive damage. I did have a sonic device in the ground, and apparently there's no restrictions as far as making claims about whether a device will work, keep something out of your garden, like there is like pesticides and stuff like that, although I don't use pesticides at all in my garden. but there's no restrictions on devices. And so people have actually done studies with these sonic devices that say are supposed to repel the voles, and they've only seen that it attracts them. Kind of want to punch them in the face, not gonna lie, because I put this in here trying to get rid of the voles, and they tell me now that it's attracting the voles, and it should be illegal. It should be illegal. They're lying. Anyway, so what I did is I took that device and I put it way out in the field back there by the trailer, under a bunch of mulch there. So hopefully it will attract them over there across the field, and they can have a happy life living in the mulch over there. I don't care if they live in the mulch, out in the field, wherever. Just don't eat my tomato plants. You know, don't eat my potatoes. Don't eat my onions. I mean, I had a ton of onions in this garden, and now every time that I look at an onion, I'm like, ooh, you know, it fell over, it's time to harvest. Nay. Nay, nay. It is not time to harvest. It just means that it got eaten by a vole. So they've got to go. They've got to go now, and they can't go fast enough. Not even a little bit. Okay, so I'm going around and I'm tying up these sunflowers. Also, things like my beautiful mugwort. If you guys don't know, I have a herb garden that is very important to me. Hundreds of herbs, rare herbs, really cool herbs, and I use them to make medicine for my family. This is one of my herb plants. There's actually several down there, but this is mugwort, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, I really I enjoy mugwort so much. Do you see how it's silver underneath these leaf-shaped or hand-shaped leaves? Oh, it's beautiful, but it's very tall, and it was draping down, and so I just used this twine to tie it up to the cattle fencing that I have going around the back side of it. What I like to do is, if I have anything that's going to be a super tall plant and I'm thinking about this at all, where I'm going to place it, I will usually place it next to something that I can secure it to. Now, obviously, I was not thinking of that when I put the fennel in. I don't know what I was thinking. But, you know, it is what it is. So, I do my best with that. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend time tying up sunflowers, seeing if there's anything that needs to be taken out. I just got done really trying to take care of all this this vole situation, and so I'm hoping that some of the seeds that I replanted, like beans and squash and watermelon and stuff like that, have a chance to grow now, because I'm pretty sure as well that the voles were eating the roots of things like my pepper plants. And if they weren't just eating the pepper plants outright, I mean, some of them were doing really well, and I planted them all at the same time. Some of them were doing really well, and then some were just not growing at all. And I'd grab the stem and I'd wiggle it, and it would be very wiggly, which lets me know that the roots are not as strong as they should be. So I'm thinking the voles ate the roots to a bunch of my plants as well. So I'm going to see if maybe the treatment that I did, the mold max or whatever, got rid of some of it, and maybe some plants are growing again, hopefully. So this is an herb bed, and we just ended up with this empty space because there was a gray Santalina here before, but my mother-in-law transplanted it to a different place that she wanted, and so we've got this open space. So I planted squash right here, and I planted squash along the leaf mold areas over here, and a watermelon up there, because there's a lot of open space right there, right? I planted a watermelon in my sphalanthus bed, and I had to replant a lot of these because the voles were eating all my seedlings, and well, I need to have vegetables coming in. That's how I feed my family. So I planted squash here in front of these tomatoes, and just awful looking eggplants. And they are just starting to come up, just starting. But it's exciting to me because it's important to have these plants. All these are my new beans that I planted because this was the bed that really got hit hard by the voles, and so you can see more mature bean plants along here. Like, I mean, I need to come pick some of these beans, but in this, they kind of left the outer edges and then one or two plants in the middle, but they pretty much just destroyed everything that was in this bed. So I had to replant my beans quite a lot, and I did that in a lot of other areas. But anywhere that I have open space, I'm going to be planting squash or watermelon or stuff like that. So I am very blessed that I live in an area where the harvest and the harvest time, the growing season is long enough where, since I did have this problem with the voles, that I still have enough time to replant. Now, it would have been nice to have like successive plantings and be able to harvest throughout the entire season, but it just didn't work out that way for us this year. But hopefully, you know, we'll get some good stuff going in the fall garden as well. We're starting those seedlings now. If you guys want to have a fall garden, now is the time to start the seedlings for that fall garden. Since I do leaf mold in my beds, it's really important that I start seedlings rather than direct seed. It's just easier that way. But I'm grateful that, you know, I can plant my watermelon now and it's still going to be okay. So here's what I'm talking about. So I've got, like, this area had a bunch more vegetables and the voles definitely got to them, and they kind of went in like this way, and you can see this tomato is so incredibly small. So I'm guessing that this tomato, like, the roots were eaten off of it, and so it's just not growing because it's not having a chance for the roots to spread. But next door, the tomatoes are much bigger. I mean, seriously. And then I bet even these got nibbled on a little bit because next door, this tomato, I mean, it's getting huge, and we're starting to get fruit off of this one. So it doesn't make sense unless the voles have something to do with it. And like, look at this. I'm still finding stuff like this where I just grab it and I pull it out and look, like, it's just, and I bet you anything there's a hole right here. Yep, there's a hole. So, I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous. On the plus side, the cabbages are looking amazing. And the Brussels sprouts are doing really good too. So here's another sunflower that I need to, sorry about the lawnmower, that I need to tie up. I gotta tie up a whole bunch of sunflowers, but look at this beautiful skull cap. I mean, honestly, I am so excited to have this in my garden. And yes, I don't weed out dandelions. I keep them for medicinal purposes and for eating. But oh my goodness, I'm in love with skullcap. So I'm gonna have to tie back my marshmallow too, because it's so tall that it's falling over. But aren't those flowers just gorgeous? Okay, well, thanks for just kind of hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. I have to go because we have a barbecue that we get to go to at the neighbors. The kids are going to swim in the creek. It's going to be wonderful. I'm very excited. And tomorrow I'm going to do a video that I actually intended to do today, but things just kept happening and I wasn't able to get out here as much as I wanted to. But I'm going to talk about comfrey tomorrow because I've been diving into this world of permaculture a lot in the last few years, and I've just like gone down the rabbit hole. And so comfrey is such a, I didn't think I needed to explain it too much because it's such a common thing for permaculture gardens, but I forget that not everybody is in as deep as I am, and I had to learn somewhere too. And so I had watched a really awesome video, but I'm gonna show you, because I have to dig up some comfrey. Let me show you what comfrey is, why it's like the bee's knees when it comes to permaculture gardens, and why you should really have it everywhere. And then I'm also going to talk about 2 different varieties of comfrey that you can have, I guess actually 3, and why it's such a great idea. So stick with me next time. I will be doing that comfrey video. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for joining me. If you guys didn't see the last video, I cut my hair. Well, Jeremy did, my husband. I'm thankful. I am gonna go get it fixed though. It's a little bit lopsided. But anyway, I hope you guys like the video. Hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, please. That would really help me out a lot. And have a wonderful day and stay blessed.